unlimited drama series.
Some guys bury their heads when they smell trouble brewing. Me? I learned to dig for dirt instead. My name is Neil Ford, and at 41, I thought I knew my wife better than anyone. Turns out I was dead wrong about everything except her capacity for betrayal. You can't expect me to cancel dinners with Grant, Annika said that Tuesday morning, adjusting her yoga pants with the kind of precision she reserved for lying. He's part of my life forever. I have a child with him. I looked up from my coffee, watching her apply lipstick in our hallway mirror, the same shade I'd found on a wine glass hidden in her gym bag last week. Right. Your ex-fiancé needs regular dinner dates to discuss little Emma's ballet lessons. Don't be sarcastic, Neil. It's not attractive. Attractive? That was rich, coming from someone who'd been sneaking around for months with her tech entrepreneur ex. Grant Heller, 43 years of inherited money and entitled smirk, had waltzed back into our lives 6 months ago when his daughter started at Annika's Pilates studio. Suddenly, my wife of 8 years needed to discuss co-parenting strategies over candlelit dinners at the Ritz. I'm a commercial real estate analyst, which means I spend my days digging through property records, financial statements, and legal documents. People think it's boring work, but it taught me something valuable. Every lie leaves a paper trail if you know where to look. Have a great day, honey, Annika called, already heading for the door. Her perfume lingered in the air, something expensive I'd never bought her. After she left, I pulled out my phone and scrolled through our joint credit card statements. 3 charges at Bella Vista restaurant in the past month. Our anniversary dinner spot, except we hadn't been there together since last year. Each charge was for exactly 2 people, always on nights when Annika claimed to be at late Pilates sessions. My office buddy Pete knocked on my cubicle wall around 10. You look like someone stole your lunch money. Worse, someone's stealing my wife. Pete, who'd been through his own messy divorce 2 years ago, pulled up a chair. Grant Heller. You know about that? Neil, half the city knows about that. My ex-wife goes to Annika's studio. According to the gossip mill, your wife and her baby daddy have been playing house while you're at work. The confirmation hit like a punch to the gut, but I kept my voice steady. What exactly is the gossip mill saying? That Annika's been bragging to her friend Simone about Grant's stamina and his generous nature. Apparently, he bought her a tennis bracelet last week. I thought about the new jewelry Annika had been wearing. For her birthday, she'd said, though her birthday wasn't until December. That evening, I came home to find Annika and Simone giggling in the kitchen like teenagers. Simone, her business partner at the studio, was a 37-year-old professional gossip with the moral compass of a broken weather vane. Oh, hi, Neil, Simone said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. We were just talking about the studio's new expansion plans. Expansion plans that require dinner meetings with ex-fiancés? Annika shot me a warning look. Neil, don't start. Start what? Asking questions about my wife's social calendar? Simone gathered her purse quickly. I should go. Annika, think about what we discussed. After Simone left, I found Annika loading the dishwasher with unusual intensity. What did you two discuss? Business stuff. You wouldn't understand. Try me. I analyze business deals for a living. She turned to face me, her expression cold. Fine. Grant offered to invest in our second location. We need the capital, and he believes in what we're building. How generous of him. What's the interest rate on this investment? It's not a loan, Neil. It's a partnership. A partnership. With her ex-fiancé, the father of her child from before we met, the man she'd been having secret dinners with for months. Let me guess, I said. This partnership requires a lot of hands-on involvement from Grant? You're being paranoid. Am I? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're having an affair and calling it business. Annika slammed the dishwasher shut. You know what? I'm tired of your accusations and your jealousy. Grant is successful, ambitious, and supportive. Maybe you could learn something from him. That night, I lay in bed listening to Annika text someone until past midnight. The soft glow of her phone screen illuminated her face as she smiled at messages I wasn't allowed to see. The next morning, I made a decision that would change everything. While Annika showered, I photographed her phone bill from the kitchen counter. 47 calls to Grant's number in the past month, including several that lasted over an hour. At work, I called my lawyer, Ms. Feldman, a sharp-tongued woman in her 50s who specialized in asset protection. I need to discuss some financial planning, I told her. Having marital troubles, Neil? Let's just say I want to make sure my assets are properly protected. Smart man, come in this afternoon. That evening, I confronted Annika directly. I know about the affair. She didn't even try to deny it. Grant and I have history. We share a child. You can't expect me to pretend that doesn't matter. I expected you to honor our marriage vows. Our marriage has been dead for years, Neil. You work 60 hours a week. You never want to travel. And you think dinner at Applebee's is fine dining. Grant appreciates the finer things in life. Grant appreciates spending his trust fund on married women. Annika's mask slipped completely. At least he's not boring. At least he doesn't analyze every restaurant bill and question every purchase. Grant knows how to live. And I don't? You're a middle management nobody who drives a 10-year-old Honda and thinks a vacation means visiting your parents in Ohio. Grant has vision. He has passion. The words stung because they were designed to. Annika had always been good at finding pressure points and applying just enough force to make it hurt. So what happens now? I asked. Now you accept reality. I'm not giving up Grant, and I'm not giving up this life. If you can't handle that, maybe we should discuss other arrangements. Other arrangements. She wanted me to accept being the cuckolded husband who paid the bills while she played house with her ex. The sad part was, 6 months ago, I might have been desperate enough to consider it. But 6 months ago, I didn't know what I was capable of. You're absolutely right, I said calmly. I can't expect you to cancel dinners with your ex-fiancé. He's part of your life. I get that now. Annika looked surprised by my reasonable tone. Good. I'm glad you're finally being mature about this. Completely mature. In fact, I think you should spend as much time with Grant as you want. Really? Really. Don't let me hold you back from true love. That weekend, while Annika was at another business meeting with Grant, I moved half my belongings to a furnished apartment downtown. I left a note on the kitchen counter. Gone to give you space to explore your partnership with Grant. Don't wait up. Neil. Then I took a photo of my new apartment keys and sent it to her phone. She called 30 minutes later, screaming. What the hell do you think you're doing? Giving you what you wanted. Freedom to be with Grant without boring old me getting in the way. You can't just move out. This is our home. Actually, it's my parents' home. They bought it as an investment property and let us live here. Didn't you read the lease agreement you signed? The silence on the other end told me everything I needed to know. Annika had never bothered to read the legal documents she'd signed, assuming I'd handle all the boring details. Neil, come home. We need to talk about this like adults. We did talk about it. You made your choice. Now you get to live with it. I hung up and poured myself a glass of wine in my new apartment, looking out at the city lights. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. The war was just beginning, but I'd fired the first shot. And unlike my soon-to-be ex-wife, I'd done my homework. Monday morning brought 3 missed calls from Annika and a text message that made me laugh out loud. We need to discuss the financial arrangements of our separation like civilized people. Civilized people. That was rich, coming from someone who'd been cheating on her husband for months while planning to keep him around as a financial safety net. I forwarded her message to Ms. Feldman with a note. Please prepare for incoming legal action. I suspect my wife is about to get creative with property law. Ms. Feldman called back within an hour. Your wife's attorney just contacted me. Apparently, she's claiming half ownership of the apartment and wants spousal support, while she transitions to independence. What did you tell them? That they should have done their homework before filing. The apartment lease is in your parents' names, as is the security deposit. Your wife has no legal claim to property she never owned. And spousal support? She'll have to prove financial need and your ability to pay. Given that she owns half a successful business and has been accepting expensive gifts from her boyfriend, that's going to be challenging. Tuesday brought the first court hearing. Annika arrived with her lawyer, Mr. Kramer, a bumbling man in his 50s, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. She'd dressed for sympathy in a conservative black dress and minimal makeup, playing the role of abandoned wife. Judge Morrison, a stern woman with no patience for theatrics, reviewed the paperwork quickly. Mrs. Ford, you're seeking emergency occupancy of an apartment you don't own? Your Honor, my husband abandoned our marital home without warning. I have nowhere to go. According to these documents, you own half of a profitable business and have been receiving substantial financial gifts from a Mr. Grant Heller. Is that correct? Annika's lawyer whispered something in her ear, but she ignored him. Grant is just a friend who's been helping me through this difficult time. A friend who bought you a $3,000 tennis bracelet last month? I watched Annika's face flush red. She hadn't expected me to document Grant's purchases. Your Honor, that was a birthday gift. Your birthday is in December, Mrs. Ford. It's currently September. The hearing lasted 20 minutes. Judge Morrison denied Annika's request for emergency housing and scheduled a follow-up hearing for the following month. As we left the courtroom, Annika grabbed my arm. This is insane, Neil. We can work this out without lawyers and judges. We could have worked it out before you started sleeping with Grant. I never slept with him during our marriage. I pulled out my phone and showed her a photo I'd taken of her gym bag contents the week before I moved out. Along with the lipstick-stained wine glass, there was a hotel key card from the Marriott downtown. The Marriott keeps electronic records of key card usage. Annika. Would you like me to subpoena them? Her lawyer, Mr. Kramer, looked like he wanted to disappear into the courthouse floor. Mrs. Ford, perhaps we should discuss strategy privately. That evening, Pete called with an update from the Pilates Studio Gossip Network. Your wife's parents found out about Grant. How? Simone got drunk at the country club and started bragging about Annika's rich boyfriend to the wrong people. Word got back to your mother-in-law. Annika's parents, traditional Catholics, who'd never fully approved of our marriage, had apparently been less enthusiastic about their daughter's affair. According to Pete's source, they'd cut off Annika's monthly allowance and removed her from their country club membership. There's more, Pete continued. Grant's business partner is asking questions about his relationship with a married woman. Apparently, it's not great for their company's family-friendly image. I filed that information away for future use. Grant's tech company, Heller Innovations, specialized in educational software for children. A cheating scandal could damage their reputation with school districts and parent groups. Wednesday brought an unexpected visitor to my new apartment. Grant Heller himself, dressed in a $1,000 suit and wearing the kind of confident smirk that comes from never facing real consequences. Neil, right? I think we should talk. I let him into my living room but didn't offer him a seat. About what? About Annika. About this whole situation getting out of hand. What situation would that be? Grant's smile faltered slightly. Look, I know you're upset about Annika and me, but we're trying to handle this maturely. The lawyers and court hearings aren't necessary. You're right. They wouldn't have been necessary if you'd kept your hands off my wife. Your marriage was over long before I came back into the picture. Annika told me how unhappy she was, how disconnected you two had become. And you decided to help her work through those marital problems by taking her to expensive hotels? Grant's composure cracked. Annika deserves better than this middle-class mediocrity. She deserves someone who can give her the life she wants. Then why hasn't she divorced me yet? The question hung in the air between us. We both knew the answer. Annika wanted Grant's excitement and my financial stability. She'd been trying to have both until I forced her to choose. She's going to divorce you, Grant said. It's just a matter of time. Probably. But in the meantime, she's discovering that adultery has consequences. Her parents disowned her, her friends are gossiping about her. and she's about to lose the apartment she thought she owned. Grant stepped closer, trying to intimidate me with his height advantage. You're making this harder than it needs to be. I'm making it exactly as hard as it needs to be. You want to play hardball? Fine. But remember, I have resources you can't imagine. I can make your life very difficult. I laughed, which clearly wasn't the reaction he'd expected. Grant, I analyze financial records for a living. I know exactly what resources you have, and I know exactly how you got them. Your trust fund, your company's investor agreements, your partnership contracts. It's all public record if you know where to look. What's that supposed to mean? It means you should be careful about making threats, glass houses and all that. After Grant left, I called my private investigator contact, Carla Martinez, a sharp 31-year-old former police detective who specialized in matrimonial cases.
You wrote him love poems. In 10 years, you never wrote me a word.
It was emotional.
How is he telling in another?
Watch more on Grammarly.com.
I need surveillance on 2 people, I told her. My wife and her boyfriend. Nothing illegal, just documentation of their activities. Cheating spouse case? Cheating spouse case with potential business implications. The boyfriend's company has a morality clause in their investor agreements. Carla's laugh was sharp. I love it when cheaters give you multiple angles to work with. This is going to be fun. Thursday brought news that Annika had tried to access our joint savings account, only to discover I'd moved the funds to an individual account the day before I moved out. Her furious phone call woke me up at 6 a.m. You can't just steal our money. I didn't steal anything. I moved my income to an account with my name on it. Half that money is mine. Prove it. Show me the receipts for your contributions to our joint savings. The silence told me everything. Annika had been spending her business income on personal luxuries, while I paid the household expenses and built our savings. This is financial abuse, Neil. No, this is financial planning. I'm protecting my assets from someone who's been lying to me for months. Friday brought the best news yet. Carla called with her first surveillance report. Your wife and her boyfriend aren't very careful about public displays of affection. I've got photos of them at 3 different restaurants, holding hands and kissing. I've also got hotel receipts and a very interesting conversation they had outside the Marriott yesterday. What kind of conversation? The kind where they discussed how to handle you and your unreasonable demands. Apparently, Grant thinks you'll cave if they apply enough pressure. What kind of pressure? They're planning to make you look bad publicly. Social media posts about what a controlling husband you were. Maybe some carefully edited stories about emotional abuse. I felt my anger crystallize into something cold and focused. They wanted to play dirty? Fine. But they were about to learn that boring middle management Neil Ford had been studying their playbook, while they thought he was too stupid to notice. Keep watching them, I told Carla, and start documenting everything. Phone calls, meetings, financial transactions. I want a complete picture of their activities. Planning something special? Planning to give them exactly what they deserve. That night, I sat in my apartment reviewing bank statements, phone records, and legal documents. Annika and Grant thought they were playing chess while I played checkers. They were about to discover they'd been playing checkers while I'd been setting up a chessboard. The real game was just beginning. Carla's surveillance reports over the next 2 weeks painted a picture of 2 people who'd grown careless in their arrogance. Grant and Annika had settled into a routine of expensive lunches, afternoon hotel visits, and evening strategy sessions where they planned their next moves against me. What they didn't know was that I'd been planning my own moves since the day I moved out. They're meeting at Cafe Luna every Tuesday at 2, Carla reported. Same table, same routine. Grant orders the salmon, Annika gets the Caesar salad, and they spend an hour talking about you like you're some kind of annoying problem they need to solve. What kind of solutions are they discussing? Yesterday, they talked about having you followed to document erratic behavior. Grant thinks if they can paint you as unstable, it'll help in the divorce proceedings. I almost laughed. While they were planning to have me followed, I'd been documenting their every move for 3 weeks. The irony was delicious. There's something else, Carla continued. Grant's business partner, Leo Chen, has been asking questions about Grant's relationship with a married woman. Apparently, some of their investors are conservative family types who wouldn't appreciate the scandal. How do you know that? I may have struck up a conversation with Leo at his gym. Mentioned I'd heard rumors about Grant's personal life affecting company morale. Leo was very interested in what I had to say. This was perfect. Grant's weakness wasn't just his arrogance. It was his assumption that his money and status made him untouchable. He'd never considered that his affair might have professional consequences. Monday brought an unexpected development. Annika showed up at my office, something she'd never done in 8 years of marriage. "We need to talk," she said, perching on the edge of my desk like she owned the place. "About what?" "About ending this ridiculous war you've started. Grant and I want to make you an offer." I leaned back in my chair, genuinely curious. "What kind of offer?" "A clean divorce. No fighting over assets. No dragged-out court battles. You keep your retirement accounts, I keep the business, and we both move on with our lives. And in exchange, you stop trying to sabotage my relationship with Grant. No more private investigators, no more legal games, no more harassment." "Harassment? You mean like documenting your adultery?" Annika's composure slipped. "You're making this personal when it should be business. It became personal when you started sleeping with your ex-fiancé in our bed. That never happened." I pulled out my phone and showed her a photo Carla had taken the previous week. Annika and Grant entering my old apartment building together, Grant's hand on the small of her back. "The building has security cameras in the lobby, Annika. Should I request the footage from the past 6 months?" She stood up quickly, knocking over my coffee mug. "You're sick, Neil. This obsession with surveillance and documentation, it's not normal. What's not normal is a wife who thinks she can have an affair and keep her husband around as a backup plan." "I never wanted you as a backup plan. Then why haven't you filed for divorce yet?" The question stopped her cold. We both knew the answer. She was waiting to see if Grant would actually leave his comfortable bachelor lifestyle for a real relationship. If he didn't, she wanted the option to return to our marriage with minimal consequences. "I'm trying to handle this with dignity," she said finally. "No, you're trying to handle this without consequences. There's a difference." That evening, Carla called with news that changed everything. Grant's company is about to announce a major contract with the Chicago public school system. $50 million over 5 years. And the school board has a strict morality clause in their vendor agreements. Any scandal involving company leadership could void the contract. I felt pieces clicking into place in my mind. When do they announce the contract? Next Friday. There's going to be a big press conference, local media coverage, the whole 9 yards. Perfect timing. For what? For giving Grant and Annika exactly what they've been asking for. A public stage for their relationship. Wednesday brought another court hearing, this time for Annika's request for temporary spousal support. She dressed conservatively again, playing the role of the wronged wife, while Grant sat in the back of the courtroom for moral support. Ms. Feldman had prepared thoroughly. When Annika's lawyer argued that she needed financial assistance during the separation, Ms. Feldman presented evidence of Grant's expensive gifts, the hotel receipts, and bank records, showing Annika's business income. "Your Honor," Ms. Feldman said, "Mrs. Ford claims financial hardship while accepting luxury gifts from her boyfriend and maintaining a profitable business. She's not seeking spousal support. She's seeking to be supported by 2 men simultaneously." Judge Morrison reviewed the evidence with obvious disapproval. "Mrs. Ford, these hotel receipts show a pattern of adultery during your marriage. The expensive gifts suggest you have access to financial resources beyond your business income. I'm denying your request for temporary support." As we left the courthouse, Grant approached me in the parking lot. "You think you're winning, but you're just making yourself look petty and vindictive." "I'm making myself look like a man who won't be taken advantage of. Annika deserves better than this." "You're right. She deserves a man who'll marry her, instead of keeping her as a side piece while he enjoys the bachelor lifestyle." Grant's face flushed red. "We're planning to get married after her divorce is final." "Are you? Because from what I hear, you haven't even introduced her to your parents yet. 8 months of dating, and she's still your dirty little secret." You don't know what you're talking about. I know you've been telling people at your country club that you're single. I know you haven't changed your relationship status on any of your social media accounts. And I know your business partner is worried about how a cheating scandal might affect your company's reputation. Grant stepped closer, his voice dropping to a threatening whisper. You need to back off, Neil. You're playing with forces beyond your understanding. The only force I'm playing with is the truth. But if you want to escalate this, I'm ready. That night, I made a decision that would end this war once and for all. I called Carla and gave her specific instructions for Friday's press conference. Are you sure about this? She asked. Once we do this, there's no going back. I'm sure. Grant and Annika want to be together. Let's give them the public relationship they've been hiding from. Friday morning, Grant's press conference was scheduled for 11 a.m. at the Marriott downtown, the same hotel where he and Annika had been conducting their affair. The irony wasn't lost on me. I arrived early and positioned myself in the back of the room with a clear view of the podium. Local news cameras were set up, reporters had their notebooks ready, and Grant stood at the front of the room in his best suit, preparing to announce his company's biggest contract ever. At exactly 11:15, just as Grant was explaining the educational benefits of his software, Annika walked into the room. She looked stunning in a red dress I'd never seen before, her hair perfectly styled, carrying herself with the confidence of a woman who thought she was about to witness her boyfriend's greatest triumph. Grant's speech faltered for a moment when he saw her, but he recovered quickly and continued talking about innovation in education and his company's commitment to helping children learn. At 11:30, Carla entered from the side door, carrying a manila envelope and wearing the kind of determined expression that makes reporters pay attention. Mr. Heller, she called out, interrupting his presentation, do you have any comment on your relationship with Annika Ford, a married woman? The room went silent. Grant's face went white, then red, then white again. I'm sorry, who are you? I'm a private investigator hired to document your 8-month affair with Mrs. Ford. Would you like to comment on how your relationship with a married woman might affect your company's contract with the Chicago public school system? Cameras swung toward Annika, who looked like she wanted to disappear through the floor. Grant tried to regain control of the situation. This is a business presentation. Personal matters have no place here. Actually, they do, Carla continued, opening her envelope. The school board's morality clause specifically states that vendor leadership must maintain high ethical standards. Does conducting an affair with a married woman meet those standards? A reporter in the front row raised her hand. Mr. Heller, is it true that you've been in a relationship with Mrs. Ford while she's still married to another man? Grant looked around the room desperately, his eyes landing on Annika. For a moment, I thought he might deny everything and throw her under the bus to save his contract. Instead, he made the worst possible choice. Annika and I are in love, he said, his voice carrying across the room. We're planning to marry as soon as her divorce is final. Sometimes love doesn't follow conventional timelines. The room exploded. Cameras flashed, reporters shouted questions, and Annika stood frozen in her red dress as her affair became front-page news. But I wasn't done yet. I stood up in the back of the room and raised my voice. Grant's right about love not following conventional timelines. For example, he started sleeping with my wife 6 months before she bothered to tell me she wanted a divorce. Every camera in the room turned toward me. I'm Neil Ford, Annika's husband. I just wanted to publicly congratulate Grant and my wife on their relationship. They deserve each other. I walked out of the room while chaos erupted behind me. Through the lobby windows, I could see news vans pulling up outside. My phone started ringing before I reached my car. The first call was from Pete, laughing so hard he could barely speak. The second was from Ms. Feldman, congratulating me on the most effective legal strategy she'd ever witnessed. The third call was from Annika, screaming and crying simultaneously. I let it go to voicemail. By evening, the story was on every local news channel and spreading across social media. Tech executive admits to affair at press conference was trending on Twitter, complete with video clips of Grant's confession and my parting shot. Grant's company stock dropped 12% in after-hours trading. The school board announced they were reviewing their vendor relationships in light of recent developments. and Annika's Pilates studio was getting review bombed by strangers who'd seen the news coverage. I sat in my apartment that night, watching the coverage with a glass of wine and a sense of satisfaction I hadn't felt in months. Grant and Annika had wanted a public relationship. Now they had one. But the real consequences were just beginning. Grant's business partner, Leo, called an emergency board meeting for Monday morning. The school district was threatening to cancel their contract. And Annika's parents had apparently seen the news coverage and were deeply disappointed in their daughter's behavior. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "You've destroyed everything. I hope you're happy." "Hey," I typed back, "I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped pretending it wasn't already broken." Then I blocked the number and poured myself another glass of wine. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight, I was going to enjoy watching the consequences of 8 months of lies and betrayal finally catch up with the people who thought they were too smart to get caught. The war was over. I'd won. But the best part wasn't the victory. It was watching Grant and Annika realize they'd underestimated the boring middle management nobody who'd been paying attention while they thought he was too stupid to notice. Some guys bury their heads when they smell trouble. Others dig for dirt. And sometimes, if you dig long enough and deep enough, you find exactly what you need to bury the people who tried to bury you first.